in a room with plants. But we must preserve our forests, because our forests, plants breathe. And they are an important world supply of oxygen from the rain deserts. The rainforests give the world oxygen, but not at night. At night, they take in the oxygen and they give out carbon dioxide. So you don't want to sleep in a room with a lot of plants, because they give out carbon dioxide, which is not healthy for us. So we see air. Who would ever think that there's air in plants? Wood, you can see. If you slice open a tree, you see the air holes. It's full of air, right? And anything that doesn't have water, plants, you have to water the plants. Trees need rain, crops need rain, everything needs water. We all need water. There you go, you've got your water there. Where's your water? It's there. Don't move without it. Chaim. And there's a lot written in Hasidus about this. Earth. When you burn a tree, you're left with the ashes. The earth returns to the earth. The earth is the substance. And in the Tanya that we're reading these days, if you look into it, it's very profound philosophy, that mystical philosophy that nobody thinks about in your botany classes, your biology classes. That Hashem implanted his essence in the earth. And just like Hashem is infinite, he implanted infinite power of growth in the earth, not in trees, not in animals. The infinite power of growth is in the earth. And that's like the principle, like people who like to get a good suntan know this. What do? They have reflectors. So the sun comes down, hits the reflector and bounces back up onto them, because it's the intensest, that's the most intense place where the sun comes to the end of its journey from 93 million miles away. So that's where you get the best suntan. So similarly in the earth, the life of God, which starts from his infinite nature, finds its ultimate expression in the earth, because that's the end of the whole order and descent of life. So yeah, we're going to learn in Hasidus about higher worlds, but Hashem didn't make the creation for the sake of the higher worlds. They are just stages along the way of fulfilling his intention. And this is the point, the last chapter the Alter Rebbe wrote in his lifetime. He concludes with this point, that this is surprising to people who want to be close to Hashem. So they think that they can be close to Hashem by meditating and focusing their minds and their feelings on Hashem, and they'll be close to him. And the Alter Rebbe says, not good try, but that's not what it's all about. Because if you really want to be connected to Hashem, Hashem is in the physical world. That's why he created the physical world. Otherwise, he could have stopped at Atzilus, or Bria, which is lower than Atzilus, or Yetzirah, the world of Bria's creation, Yetzirah's formation. In the world of action here, that's where we are. This is the lowest world. This is where Hashem's first intention is to be found. So when you take an esrog, for instance, and a lulav on Sukkot, you're taking Hashem. The essence of Hashem is in these objects. And you're doing what Hashem wants you to do with them. That unifies you with Hashem. It's like you're embracing Hashem. You can't embrace Hashem, you can't see him, but you can grab these objects because Hashem told us to do it. So this is the image I gave you yesterday of the dancer and the dance. That you are the dancer, and the mitzvah that you do, shaking the lulav, that's the dance. And Hashem is the choreographer. So that everything becomes unified. And not only that, let's say a person says, yeah, I really want to light a Shabbos. Why did you become religious? I wanted to light a Shabbos candle. My mother wrote Shabbos candles. My grandmother lit Shabbos candles. I even saw my great-grandmother a few times when I was a little girl. She lit Shabbos candles. I don't know about religious life. I don't know about religion or anything, but I want to light a Shabbos candle. And in the dorm, they didn't do it. None of my friends did it. So I was very happy when I came to Machon L'Yadus and I lit a Shabbos candle. I thought I was home. Sounds familiar? Yeah. Happened to me. Personally. When I lit my first, I was living all alone. I said, I want to keep Shabbos, I have to light candles. I lit a candle. All of a sudden, I felt connected to my mother, my sister-in-law, my aunts. And that's where it's at, lighting a Shabbos candle. And guess what? In the higher worlds, in the world of Atzilus, is the world of unity with God. Atzilus. One, Atzilus and God are connected, but there's no Shabbos candles in Atzilus. There's no Esroigim. In the world to come, there's no Esroigim. You want to bench a lulav, you got to do it now. Don't wait till the world to come. You're not going to find any Esroigim there. Kingston Avenue, you have to go to get your esrog. It's not a simple, it sounds like a joke, but it's not a simple idea at all. Okay, so we learned that there are these four elements, and they're in everything. They're in us, and they're in our animal soul, our selfish soul, like we saw yesterday. Fire in your soul, in the negative, not positive way, causes you to behave with anger, arrogance, impatience, intolerance, prejudice. Fire. Don't mess with him. He's fire. Water is the element of pleasure. Pleasure. Latest swimwear. Do you know, 100 years ago, even more, 150 years ago, when women went swimming, they would go to a bathing place. They had docks that would go down the dock till you get to the water. You climb into the water, it'd be like a sukkah there. Nobody would see you. It was modest. And the bathing wear that women wore were like bathing dresses, long dresses, modest. Now, they wear next to nothing. Or nothing at all.
Exactly.
Certainly nothing left to the imagination. That's that water. It's all connected. Where do you find these places? By the water. You don't find bathing places in the desert. Who would want to go to relax in the desert? Actually, there's some enterprising people in Israel who are trying to build desert resorts. But you can bet your life they're going to have a swimming pool and sauna baths and showers. Because water is connected with pleasure. You know, fruits, luscious fruits are full of juice. Juice is water. Then there's air. What are the elements of air in the animal soul? Talking too much. Saying not nice things, criticizing, scornful, gossip, scandal, bragging, and making stupid jokes, lack of respect. That's air in the animal soul. Some people, they just take delight in making fun of respectable people and respectable ideas. of religion, it's cool, you know. I'm not going to get too excited about Torah mitzvahs. I'm cool. I can make fun of them. I can make a joke. You call that an esrog? You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. Chaim over there, he's about tshuva. He gets so excited about his esrog. Whoa. Make fun. That's the element of air in the animal soul. And the element of earth is, remember? Huh?
Depression.
To be, yeah, melancholy, depressed, and to be lazy. Lazy. What about the godly soul? How would these things work in the godly soul? Fire. What's fire in your godly soul? He doesn't say this in chapter 1. Passion? For what? Passion can be in the wrong place.
Yeah, but it could also be.
You know? Got to be careful about the UPS drivers. I read a memoir of a person, he came to the Rebbe when he installed air conditioning in the Rebbe's room, an air conditioner. And the Rebbe spoke to him, the young man, asked him about what he does. And he said, be very careful when you go into people's homes, that you should never be alone with someone's wife. He said, those words saved me so many times. Who would have thought? But, you know, they write stories about it. It's in the divorce courts. So, well, not passion. I wouldn't necessarily put passion in it. I have to qualify. What kind of passion? Passion for what?
For connecting to Hashem. For connecting to Hashem.
How do you connect to Hashem?
Mitzvah.
By doing a mitzvah. So you're passionate about doing a mitzvah. I love doing mitzvahs. Soul's on fire. Nothing negative about that. That's godliness. Okay. Davening with warmth. For some people do mitzvahs coldly, but we want to do everything with warmth. It says the base of Mikdash was destroyed because people served Hashem coldly. There was no love. It was just cut and dried. Hashem said, I don't need this. I don't need you just to go through the motions. Imagine a family is separated because of the circumstances of the war, hostage, and mom or dad comes home. How are they going to be greeted? With passion, with love, with great love. That's how we have to do mitzvahs, and that's how we have to daven. With great happiness. The base of Mikdash was destroyed because we didn't serve Hashem with simcha. Now, Rebbetzin Simcha was here. She's not here today either. We're not learning with simcha today. Yeah, simcha is the all-important ingredient in everything we do in the service of Hashem. Simcha, happiness, joy. So that's the element of fire in the godly soul. What's the element of water in the godly soul? Well, water is connected with passion. I would say that is when a person loves love. Water, it says, we learned yesterday in the Tanya, water is the source of everything they love. It's the element of water. I love davening. I love, like you said, Petro, I love doing mitzvahs. I love giving charity. Most people don't love giving charity, normal people. It's an acquired love. Some people are born with it. They're just born generous. Most people are born selfish. Children newborn have to learn to be generous. That's water in the animals, in the godly soul. To be generous. You know, some of the great stories that are told about simple people who worked hard for so many years and so many years to support their family, which was so very poor, and they're finally heading home, and they see there's a big ruckus taking place. What's happening? Someone's being arrested because they didn't pay their rent. How much is it? And they go and they pay the rent for them, and they give away all the money that they just earned over all these years. In such a story like that, the person, he had two partners. They went out, they earned a lot of money, and one person said, it's exactly half of what we earned. I'll give him my half. I don't want to see these people put in jail. And he did. And so he couldn't go home because he went away with nothing. And now he still had nothing. His friend said, I didn't work for nothing. I'm going home. I'm taking the money. I'm going home. The one who gave away all his money, he lost his mind. Couldn't deal with it. It was too much. But it was discovered sort of accidentally revealed by Hashem. Accidents called Hashgacha Pratis are just God. That when one guy he became a beggar. He was just sitting outside the base of Medrash, and people would give him a few coins. And one guy said, I have a big deal coming up today. Here, take this, give me a blessing. I should go through. And the deal went through. Okay, great. He was very happy. Next time he had a deal coming up, he made sure to give this same beggar a donation before he went to the closing. And it also went through. And before you know it, that became his modus operandi, the way he was operating. Whenever he had a deal, he always made sure to give a donation to the beggar. And finally, other people caught on to his success, and they started doing the same thing. And the word got back to the Baal Shem Tov that there was this beggar that every time he gave a bracha, it would be fulfilled. Baal Shem said, bring him to me. They brought him and said, what did you do? He told him his whole life story. And he said to him, how would you like to learn Torah? He said, I would love to learn Torah. He says, okay, I'm going to get you a teacher. I'm going to get you a decent place. You don't have to be a beggar. And he was uneducated in Torah, but the Baal Shem Tov got him the best teachers, and it took several years. They worked on first. They had to teach him Aleph Beis, had to teach him how to daven, had to teach him how to do mitzvahs. Then they had to teach him kavanas, the meaning of everything. And eventually he became a mystic in his own right, a righteous person. And he made great miracles for the Jewish people, and nobody ever knew who he was. Well, somebody must have known because we know the story. So there you are. That's the quality of the power of charity, the power of tzedakah, righteousness. Unbelievable. And some people, they just love, like the Rebbe. The Rebbe would, on a Sunday, would give away thousands of dollars, thousands, so that other people would use these dollars to give charity.
It was his money? It was his money? Like
real money.
No, but it was like his?
Was it his money? Sure, it was his money.
Oh, wow.
Where did he get it? Well, people were very happy to give him the money that he should use it for his purposes. That's called maimon. People give money to the Rebbe every month to do whatever he wants with it. So, they used to joke around that the Rebbe would it started very gradually. Just on special occasions, if someone was around, the Rebbe would give dollars to whoever was around. Then people realized that on special occasions, the Rebbe might give away dollars for charity. Children used to come every day. The Rebbe would give them nickels to put in the pushka before mincha. See, in front of 770, when the Rebbe would go to the oil, there would be children there. He'd give every child a nickel to give to charity. And the idea was made clear that if they want, they could keep the nickel and give a different nickel, or give more than a nickel. They keep the dollar and give more than $1 to charity. So they used to joke around and say, oh, the Rebbe's giving tzedakah today on a Sunday. There's another $6,000 going out of circulation. No one's ever going to use that money. And once the Rebbe said about giving charity, he says, I have a great desire to give charity. Because the tzaddik, the righteous person, wants to be like his creator. You know who's the greatest, most charitable being in the world? Hashem gives life to the whole world, every single second. So the best thing you can do to connect to Hashem is to give a lot of charity. That way you're being like him. You become his partner. And he's a good partner. He's a very good partner because he participates in what you do. And if he sees, where did you get your money from in the first place? From him. He sees you're using it in the right way, he gives you more. So that's the element of water, love. Water is a source of pleasure. All pleasure is connected with water. Pleasure gardens, pleasure places. Air. What is air in the animal, in the godly? Air in the animal soul is the abusive speech. Abusive speech. What's air in the godly soul? Tehillim, good speech, praising God, praising another person, encouraging other people. Bringing up, when you praise another person for a good quality, they may not even have that quality, but by talking to them about it, you bring it out in them. Tell a person, you have such good character. You're so sensitive to other people. You're so considerate. You're so helpful. I wish I could be like you. Even if you don't mean it, even if it's not true, the fact that you say that, oh, gee, he thinks so highly of me. I guess I should be like that. Speech reveals. That's why in the yeshivas, it's so noisy, because everybody learns out loud. In college, they tell you, shh, don't disturb people. Whereas in yeshiva, everybody's screaming. They learn out loud, because when you say a thing out loud, you bring out more depth and sincerity and reality to what you're talking about. So that's air in the godly soul. What's earth in the godly soul? This is a little tricky. What's earth in the godly? Earth in the animal soul is depression, right? And anxiety, and maybe anxiety is connected with fire, but
sadness,
laziness. So what's earth in the godly soul? Dum dum dee 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 dum dum dee 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 dum. That's thinking music. Dum dee 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 dum dum.
Having a lot of energy, I don't know, being happy.
Happiness is, I would say, is water.
right?
Simple as water in the godly soul is a source of happiness. What?
Comfort. Comfort.
Calm,
Comfort.
comfort, comforting other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Warm. I'd say you're warm.
Oh, sadness.
I'd say you're warm. What's the quality about the earth that makes it different from anything else?
It's not moving.
Yeah, it's stable.
Stable, yeah.
It's hard.
Stability, it's solid, right?
Yeah.
Solid. Do you find pride in the earth?
I guess not. Oh, is earth humility?
Yeah, right. Everybody walks. Why was the Torah given in the desert? Because everybody can go there. Everybody walks all over the earth. So the tzaddik, like it says about Moshe Rabbeinu, he was the most humble person in the whole world. Hashem is so humble, he gives everybody life, and he remains completely anonymous. This donation is made by Mr. Anonymous. There used to be a TV program when I was growing up called The Millionaire. In those days, $1 million was enough for the rest of your life, and they'd never have a worry. Millionaire was like today gazillionaire. And this was the program that there was a very, very wealthy man. We never saw his face on television. We just saw his back. He had a secretary, and he would give his secretary orders to deliver $1 million to some family, some person, some couple, whatever that he was particularly interested in them, and to see how they were going to do with how they were going to handle the money. It was an allegory, but it was very interesting. Because that man, who had all the money and he's giving it out like that, that's just an allegory for Hashem. And the minister is, a tzaddik, I guess. But he remains unknown. The people who get the money never know who gave it to them. So this is the humility of Hashem. And the things that the Rebbe did without anybody knowing about it are, well, after the Rebbe, was no longer visible to us, we began to hear the stories about all the tremendous things that the Rebbe was doing that nobody ever knew about. Incognito. Tzaddik, the righteous person, incognito. So these are the 4 elements in the godly soul. How do you like that? Now so that's a very important idea in chapter 1. These 4 elements. And we have to work on them. And since we know what they are, so this gives us also an understanding of the variables involved in trying to develop our character. You want to be a better person, so you have to sort of analyze, well, how am I doing with fire? How am I doing with water? How am I doing with air? How am I doing with earth? So if earth and the animal soul means I want to sleep in, whereas earth and the godly soul means even though I want to sleep in, I'm careful to get up on time and brush my teeth and make sure I have clean clothes and to get to yeshiva on time. And, toe the line, fulfill the requirements, all that's required of me. Okay. And David HaMelech tells us that he killed his animal soul. His animal soul was not a player in his efforts to serve God. He got to the point that only his godly soul was calling the shots. Wow, that's something to aim for. Okay, then we learned that every person, page 44, has 2 souls, a godly soul and an animal soul. The animal soul dwells in the blood, in your left side of your heart. The godly soul dwells in the right side of your heart. And you need to know more anatomy and biology and stuff to understand how that works. I once had a nurse in this class who explained how it worked. I get confused about it, but if this is what the Alter Rebbe writes, then we can know for sure it's true. And then we learned the 4 negative aspects, how these 4 elements work through the animal soul and through the godly soul. Concluding, the Alter Rebbe says an extraordinary idea, which I'm just going to mention now before Yom Tov. We'll come back, we'll wrap it all up after Yom Tov when we come back after Sukkot. That the animal soul in a Jewish person has good qualities in it. It's not just bad, not just negative. The animal soul in a Jewish person is also good. Jewish person by nature is very good. The sons of Yishmael are very bad. They're murderers. It's their nature. I'm not going to give you a whole discourse about it, but it is that we see it. We see the pointless brutality and cruelty and murder that takes place today from these people. It didn't change. It says in the Torah from thousands of years ago that this is what they are. Children of Yishmael, this is what they are. But they have potential because they're also the children of Abraham. So there's a potential there that it's hidden by this murderous qualities. And Yishmael himself was a murderer. And but in the end, he did tshuva. Shmuel did tshuva. He acknowledged that Yitzchak was the true descendant, the inheritor of the righteousness of Abraham, and he submitted himself to Yitzchak. But in the animal soul in a Jewish person is unlike the animal soul in a non-Jewish person, which is very cruel. But we see that since Yishmael was a son of Abraham, they do excel, the Arabs do excel in hospitality, which they learned from Abraham. That's where they're brought up. In other words, if you find haven in an Arab's tent, he will protect you. He'll be hospitable, he'll protect you, he'll feed you, do everything to help you. And as soon as you leave the tent, he'll kill you. Because they have hospitality, but they're murderers. The Torah says, Para Adam, we wild people, not godly people, but wild people. That's what the Torah says to Shmuel. It says, the Shmuel is a wild person. He will dwell in the deserts. He will rob people. His hand will be against all men, and all men's hands will be against him. A lot of potential there. But however, the godly soul in a Jewish person is naturally kind. Jewish people are naturally kind, giving people, generous, kind people. Didn't have to go to Hebrew school to become like that. It's in our blood. It's our character. They're naturally forgiving people, merciful. This is Torah ideas, and they are naturally modest. A young child doesn't know what modesty is. You grow up, you learn what modesty is, and then peer pressure makes you become immodest because you don't want to be a nerd in the eyes of others. So you force yourself to be immodest. You come to the Machon and you learn that modesty is very beautiful. It's the most beautiful. Look at the clothing the women wore in the 18th century, the 1800s. Beautiful. Dresses, long, beautiful dresses. High necklines, long sleeves, long dresses. Beautiful, gorgeous, expensive clothes. Go on Google, look it up. Clothing of the 1800s. These are the natural qualities of a Jew. If you don't have these qualities in a person, you have to look into their background, see if something's amiss. Something's not right.
Thank you, Rabbi Pape. Thank you.
Thank you, girls. Thank you very much. Have a good Yom Tov. Have a happy Sukkot.
Thank you. You too.
Enjoy all the mitzvahs that we do. They're great. They're inspiring. Okay, a blessing. Say a blessing. Here we go. And then he says, the end of chapter 1 is outrageous. It makes Shluchim will teach it, always have to be very careful how you teach it, because there's going to be somebody And the audience is going to be their liberal tendencies are going to be very upset. Because he says there that the kindness of going, I don't go anywhere kind, I don't go anywhere modest. I don't go anywhere generous. Says the Alter Rebbe, they're always selfish. They do it for their own selfish reasons, because it makes them feel good, and because they feel proud of themselves, and it earns them respect in the eyes of others. But it's not a deep, inherent kindness, godliness. There is this element of godliness in the basic animal selfish soul. That's why we're special people. We should be proud. We have to be proud of it. You never knew that, and now you found out.
Yes.
And we have a lot to be proud of. Thank you for coming, Petra. I must remember to research your name.
Okay.
I'll be so happy if I come up with a good answer.